chérie, chérie, le beau Paris.
Hello again, and welcome to Paris Set Me Free mini photo tutorials. Remember, if you want to see a good version of the photo I'm going to discuss, go to parissetmefree.blogspot.com and look for August 2008. Well, this is a photograph taken very near my home. It's our local cancer research building. As you can see, up on top of the building here, they have some antennae which are sending off dangerous radioactive signals to test on the local population the effects of these, and to see what percentage of people develop cancerous tumours over the course of the year. Here you can see they're testing on a dog down here and its owner, and a little baby in the pram here with the man here. If you actually look around the other side of the building, there are even more of these sophisticated devices which are helping to advance cancer research all over France. So, as I thought that this was quite a scary building in the middle of a suburban area, and to be honest, they're all over the place. You just have to look up anywhere you are, especially in urban areas, because they put these things, obviously they're sending off signals for our mobile phones, and they put them on the highest buildings possible so that they can reach us all. And the effects of them are not particularly well known at the moment. So that's my facetious comment. So I wanted to use this to turn what is actually a fairly boring building into something a bit more exciting. So first of all, I looked around to see what elements I could use. When I was coming down the other street here, there was a lot of nice sun. It had gone by the time I got here, but then I looked around. Well, you've got the tall building. I threw an angle in to make it more interesting, and also to fit in these 3 stop signs. And these 3 stop signs are nice because it's a repetition of the theme, and also stop, as in stop bombarding us with all these radio waves. Although I know that's a bit hypocritical, because where would we be without our mobile phones? Talking of that, I'm just going to put mine away so it doesn't disturb us. Also, the RER sign, that's the French, one of the French big railway trains, which I wanted to get in the shot, because every symbol which shows where you are or gives you a hint of where you are is useful in a photograph, especially one which could be a little bit bland. So that was my starting point. I waited until I got a man with a pushchair and a woman with a dog, so that it was a little bit more interesting than just a car. That's the human element. And then I thought to myself, what on earth can I do with this photograph to make it more exciting? I don't always do much with special effects, apart from my own little technique to make my photos have a certain look to them. But in this case I thought, hey, I'm going to do it. So I thought radiation, waves of nausea-inducing stuff coming over us all the time, invisibly through the air. Green would be a good colour to represent that. So I ended up producing a photograph that looks like this. Now, I wanted to highlight the building, put that in green as if it were some sort of horrendous pariah in the middle of this lovely, quiet, tranquil scene of people pushing their children around, taking their dog for a walk. And also I wanted to reflect this nauseating green invisible slime which we're surrounded by on nearby houses as well. So I balanced the photo by making this side of this house green as a reflection of the radio waves coming from here, and the side of this house green as well. Apart from that, I've played around a bit with the contrast to bump that sky up. Look at the difference between what it was. You see, rather bland, pale, not much contrast, and this exciting, stormy, tempestuous, almost apocalyptical sky. The sort of thing you would see in in an old painting with God sitting up there pointing his finger down at the poor worthless sinners with a few cherubs floating around perhaps as well. I'm not an expert at playing around with colours and such like, so it was a bit of a game really, and I won't go into what I did. That's not my thing, although I did enjoy it. You see, I've made little mistakes. I tried to colour in the white bit on these signs here. Here it worked. Here it didn't come through. And in retrospect, I would have left them all white. But you can only experiment, and it was fun to do. It's an excuse when you've got a photo that you have to invent why it's an interesting photograph. And in some cases, why not play around with the good old. I don't use Photoshop. I use something that's cheaper because I'm poor, which is called Paint Shop Pro, which is as good as I need, because Photoshop, it has so much stuff. I didn't start with it. I would be a fan of it if I had started with it. I happened to start with Paint Shop Pro, which costs an awful lot less, and it seems to me that quite a lot of Paint Shop's features are for publishing professionals and such like, whereas I just like to play around, as I often bore people by saying, for me the photograph is taken before you click the shutter. Afterwards, as in this case, yes, you can play around, but my photography is based on that principle. So there it is, a bit of fun, the difference between bland old buildings and inventing a little bit of a story and creating an image to go with it. Okay, that's all for this time. Don't forget you can see a high quality version of this on the blog at parissetmefree.blogspot.com, and look for August 2008. Thanks very much for visiting.
Depuis que je suis à Paris, le jour et la nuit, je suis gris. J'ai compris la douceur de vivre. Je suis fou de joie, je suis ivre. Depuis que je suis à Paris.